to another edition of Diaspora Network, the show that celebrates Nigerians who are excelling in the diaspora in different fields. On the show today, we tell the compelling story of Nigeria's humanitarian workers on the world stage who are striving to bring succor to thousands of people displaced from their homes. Our special report zeroes in on the triggers of internal displacement and, of course, efforts to drive down the rising statistics. And here's the unique story of human rights lawyer Professor Hauwa Ibrahim. She shares the event that changed her life from street kid in northern Nigeria to International Peace Prize winner. It's all coming up in the next 30 minutes or so, but let's kick off the show with a look at what's in the news this week.
Multidisciplinary artist Nisi Ogulu, who is the younger sister to Burna Boy, teamed up with the British luxury fashion store Flannels by transforming her NFT digital art series into a new exhibition. Titled Jigsaw Tribe, it was sold in a premium auction on the Binance NFT marketplace earlier this year and became part of Binance Charity's NFT for Good campaign. The exhibition, which is showcased outside of Flannels' flagship store in Oxford Street, features a collection of unique pieces exploring Africa's opulent musical heritage by using animated instruments presented as a puzzle piece. Nisi says her main goal is to take the audience across the continent to discover handcrafted musical instruments in all their colourful glory that may not be known to the rest of the world. Noel Alumona, a Nigerian student staying in Nashville, Tennessee, has won the 2022 AFS Award for Young Global Citizens. A native to Enugu State, he is the first African to win the award since it was formed in 1914, and with it a handsome $10,000 cash prize sum. The award is in recognition of Boys Champions, a youth-focused group committed to targeting societal violence and prejudice in Nigerian communities by teaching young boys how to behave towards women and girls. Noel, who is also a fellow of the Obama Foundation's 2018 African Leaders Programme, beat 500 other contestants following a rigorous process of selection and interviews. His non-profit organisation continues to work closely with almost 5,000 young volunteers in Nigeria on issues of gender-based violence, peace building, special education, youth value development and childcare improvement. 16-year-old Ayeni Essien has been making headlines for being dubbed the next teen prodigy in women's golf. At just 5 years old, Ayeni became interested in golf after seeing a game in her hometown, Abuja. By the age of 11, she was playing at an international level, representing Nigeria at global competitions across the US, UK and other parts of Africa. Most recently, she competed in the Cortland College Series tournament, winning first place. Her biggest role model is famed golfer Tiger Woods, who she says has shown a lot of resilience in the game despite a series of injuries. The emerging sports star, who was born in New York and raised in Nigeria, moved back to the US last year to attend school in Connecticut. Juliana Olayinka with the Diaspora Network News Wrap in London.
We caught up with the activities of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission as they continue to engage citizens for development. Let's take a look.
Recently, President Muhammadu Buhari met with Nigerians in New York at a town hall meeting organized by the chairman of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Mrs. Abike Dabiri-Arewa. The people are delighted to receive him.
Thank you.
President Buhari commends Nigerians living in the United States for the exemplary roles they are playing and urges them to continue. The president highlights diaspora remittances and investments as commendable and lauds the NIDCOM boss for establishing innovative programs and initiatives to drive economic growth and national development through the Commission.
Bye-bye.
You say you'll see you in Nigeria.
On her part, Mrs. Dabiri-Arewa reiterates the purpose of the meeting and the need for Nigerians in diaspora to give back to the country through their resources, talents, skills, and global exposure.
It's not about just being in America, it's about what they're doing back home. Virtually every one of them is doing something back home, contributing to the Nigerian economy, and we're always so proud of Nigerians. So it's still the same message. Nigerians being good ambassadors of their country, not forgetting home, and working with Nigerians at home to build our country, and this group has been really amazing. Like I said, what is unique about all of them is that they're not just sitting in America. They all have businesses back home, the doctors are doing things back home, medical missions, they're contributing, helping to raise other young Nigerians. So we keep at it and keep ensuring that we engage our diaspora. You're looking very good for 103, sir.
Elsewhere, the NIDCOM boss paid a visit to the oldest Nigerian in Canada, Chief Obafemi Adete, aged 103 years.
Yes, sir.
She's in charge.
I am the number one diaspora, the oldest diaspora.
Chief Adete was born in Lagos, southwest Nigeria. He moved to the United Kingdom in 1956 after his secondary education and went to study nursing in the University of London, England. In 1964, he was offered an appointment by the Canadian Ministry of Health. He's a recipient of several leadership awards, both in Canada and back home in Nigeria.
His father, you don't know how much you appreciate it, sir, and how the whole Nigerian community in Canada truly appreciates you.
The delighted centenarian seized the opportunity to showcase the congratulatory letter he received from Queen Elizabeth II when he clocked 100 years old. Mrs. Dabri Arewa also paid a courtesy visit to the High Commissioner of Nigeria to Canada, His Excellency Adeyinka Asekun. Their discussions focused on the protection of Nigerians in Canada and how the mission can work with Nigerians in the Diaspora Commission to facilitate the exchange of ideas between Nigerians in Canada and Nigerians at home to enhance the diversification agenda of the federal government. Are you a Nigerian in diaspora? Do you have a need to contact the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM? Kindly dial any of the numbers on your screen. You can also catch up with all the Commission's activities, including news, articles, and office events on the website nidcom.gov.ng.
Now, arguably the largest group of forcibly displaced persons in the world, IDPs, have historically fallen through the cracks, overlooked by their own governments and often ignored by donors. Take a look at what we found about their challenging circumstances.
The issue of displacement is a global phenomenon which has reached an unprecedented scale in recent years. Global report by the Internal Displacement Monitoring Center, IDMC, states that as at 2021, 38 million internal displacements occurred across 141 countries and territories, leaving 59.1 million persons displaced, and almost 50% of the number are children under the age of 18. Conflict, violence, and disaster are some of the most common triggers. As part of efforts to ensure effective coordination and strategic response to the humanitarian challenges in Nigeria, the federal government adopted the National Policy on Internally Displaced Persons in 2012. This policy has become even more relevant today, considering the rise in the number of displaced persons in recent times. As of 2021, the International Organization for Migration, IOM, documented over 3.2 million displaced persons, mostly in the northeastern region where insurgency erupted. Banditry, farmer-herder conflict, boundary dispute, and natural disasters are other reasons for their forceful ejection of citizens from their homes, and the population continues to increase as these challenges continue unabated.
The challenge is we keep having this RDP. So with all the efforts and with the financial challenges, funding challenges that we have, it has become extremely difficult to say that you satisfy the needs of these people.
The impact of internal displacements on livelihood, health, housing, education and security of displaced persons is worrying. Displacement comes with a heightened level of vulnerability, mostly for children, placing them in high-risk circumstances. Many lose access to education, and some are forced into armed groups. Women and girls are particularly exposed to the risk of sexual violence. There are cases where displaced persons have faced forceful ejection and also encountered further hardship as a result of diversion of relief materials meant for them.
We are IDPs. Our problem is lack of food and other basic needs.
Government is saddled with a primary responsibility to provide protection and humanitarian assistance to IDPs. As part of its commitment to this, the federal government, through the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons, made a pledge at the beginning of this year to ensure the enrollment of all refugees and internally displaced children of school age into primary, secondary and tertiary institutions by 2023. While that is still a work in progress, international community, non-governmental organizations and some individuals consider development and productivity a concerted effort between the public and the private sector. Therefore, advocate the need for others to support government to ensure that the needs of displaced persons are met. This support comes in various forms like educational intervention, donation of basic relief materials, temporary shelters, and foodstuff. A number of Nigerians in diaspora are listed amongst those who are contributing their quota to the cause. Nigerian-British IT consultant Dr. James Okparachi started the RIAPS organization born of his passion for transformation and reformation, especially for indigents. His foundation has donated relief and educational material to some IDPs in the north and targets all IDP camps across the country. Another Nigerian committed to this cause is Charles Emuhowate. He is a premier member of the London Chamber of Commerce, an entrepreneur and a philanthropist with over 30 years of experience in finance and security. He started his foundation over a decade ago and supports over 150 widows and 200 orphan children, many of whom are HIV positive. The problem of internal displacement in Nigeria and other parts of the world is one that needs to be addressed. With a record 59.1 million people uprooted within their countries and grappling with a deterioration in their living conditions, more needs to be done to address the causes of forced movement.
Now, those numbers are indeed worrying, but here's a woman who's taking rehabilitation efforts a step further using STEAM camps. Working with international partners, she's offering the tools that can place the least likely on the path to success in the modern world ruled by tech.
Professor Hauwa Ibrahim was born in Gombe State, northeast Nigeria, and grew up in a small village at a time when girls were married off right after elementary school. But her determination to get an education made her resort to hawking to pay her way through school. Through sheer persistence and the gracious support of others, she attended Teachers High School for Women, the local university in Jos, north central Nigeria, and continued to law school. She trained as a human rights lawyer and became the first female in a region to achieve this feat. Before starting her legal practice in 1996, she was a prosecutor at the Ministry of Justice in Bauchi State. Professor Ibrahim gained prominence with her pro bono work, defending people condemned under the Islamic Sharia law in the north. She defended over 150 cases involving women sentenced to death by stoning and children sentenced to amputation of limbs. In 2005, she won the European Parliament's Sakharov Prize for Freedom of Thought. She was a visiting professor at St. Louis University School of Law and World Fellow at Yale University, Radcliffe, and Harvard University, where she's presently a teacher and researcher. She has visited 70 countries and taught in over a dozen of them. She served as an envoy for the United Nations Bar Association's Council on Human Rights and on Nigeria's Presidential Investigation Panel to review compliance of the armed forces with human rights obligations and rules of engagement. She is the founder of the project Mothers Without Borders, which focuses on diverting youth from extremism. Today, she is the president of the Peace Initiative, an organization with a mission to pursue international peace through education and leadership initiatives for positive social change. Under her leadership, the organization collaborated with Wellesley College to develop and implement science, technology, engineering, arts and mathematics summer camps in northern Nigeria. The goal of the project is to excite elementary school pupils' interest in STEAM. The project has so far impacted over 1,500 pupils from over 100 elementary schools.
Welcome back to the program. We find Professor Ibrahim in the heart of Abuja doing what she loves the most, helping the vulnerable.
Math is easy, isn't it? And it's making it easy, isn't it? That's not for our teacher.
In the modest library of the school, she starts by telling us about her humble beginnings and has a twinkle in her eye as she recounts her tale from hawking on the streets of northern Nigeria to ending up in Harvard.
You see those people that, the Tella girls, the one that hawk, the hawkers, they learn street trick that nobody knows. For me, being street smart will make you better book smarter. So that's what Tella has done to me. Because I have found myself in very interesting situation while I was growing up, I became book smart later, and that street smart helped to solidify my book smart. There was a combination that made it powerful. I wrote my first book, which became a bestseller in Amazon. But a lot of it is related to my being on the my story was the story of the cases I handled. The book is titled Practicing Sharia Court in 7 Strategy of How to Achieve Justice in Sharia Courts. That's the title of my book. And it's a bestseller. It's still on Amazon. It's still selling very well. And I found whatever I have done has added value. When I say I was in the police, I have learned to be extremely vigilant. I was in the police for NYC, and so every small thing that everybody does, don't underestimate it because it adds value to life later.
Professor Ibrahim talks about her passion for upholding the rights of vulnerable children and helping women get justice.
So actually, I never heard of the word Harvard. Because of where I came from, I never heard of the word Harvard. I finished university, I did everything. Harvard never come into a conversation. Like I was saying, I became educated by accident. I became a lawyer by accident. And how I got into Harvard was I went after those Sharia notorious cases that I was defending, part of the defense team. It was a teamwork. I don't know how they got me, because some of the places we go are on the donkeys, on the horses, on the bike, we walk. We were doing things from our heart. We were not doing things because we want somebody to say thank you, or because, no, it's just our people that needed our help. We have the skills, we want to go to wherever they are to look for them. And of course, the people like you, the pressmen, and I think you form one of the major part of our story. You knew about it, you followed it, you advertised it, you mentioned it to medias. And it was a media man that knew about some of these cases that put it on the public. And an NGO picked it, they invited me. Moving forward, it was the same media president that went into European Parliament. And European Parliament felt, oh, we are going to honor her. So they honored me. And it was during that moment of those cases that my name went outside the country. But before then, I did most horrific things in the villages. Nobody asked me to do it. If I know you need help, I'll jump into it and help.
But helping others came at a great cost to her personal safety.
I gave an interview on the radio and about whether stoning to death is part of it's in the Quran, and I said no. And I got ike from a lot of people saying I was anti-Sharia, I was anti-Islam, and they should also like stone me if they find me. So I got like a fatwa on my head. And at that moment, I think some of the embassy felt I was at risk and should go out of the country. They gave me the form. I really forgot where I put the form. So I threw the form away, and later one of them forced me to come and fill the form in their office. I didn't know what they knew, but they said, go and spend some 6 weeks and then come back. And I was, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to go nowhere. I'm happy with Nigeria. I don't want to go anywhere. But I went. And it was what we call Humphrey Scholarship. I got a Humphrey Scholarship. And if you know your core, if you know you are, if you are good anywhere you find yourself. And all of a sudden, I was also discovered during the Humphrey Scholarship, and I became a big story in the United States. And Harvard invited me. I never knew of Harvard, so Harvard invited me to come. They invited me to come to Radcliffe for 10 months, and this is like 14 years counting. They never want to let go.
Her passion for giving children an alternative to violence and extremism is palpable as she weaves her way through the class, excited about what the STEAM camps could potentially achieve.
The STEAM idea started from the cases I handled. So I started the cases of the women sentenced to death by stoning in Nigeria. I went back, and about shortly after the cases, there was this Apple 6. There was a big case about Apple 6. It was during Obasanjo's time, and he invited us to come and be a panel to a commission on that. And then it moved into President Jonathan asking me to come in when they kidnapped the Chibok girls. Remember, in between, I have been mostly out of the country, and I've written the book. And I think somebody saw the book online, and they said, we also know about Hauwa. Call her, that's President Jonathan, to come and help with the effort to rescue the girls. So we had the Presidential Commission. I came back to Nigeria to work. And then this regime, when Osibanjo was the vice president, he went to Harvard. He saw my book in the divinity school, and he also said I should come back to help with the effort it was the Nigerian army. It was a big deal about how they were terrorizing the IPOP and the rest of them. And the international community stopped Nigeria from getting ammunition. We cannot live without arming some certain sector of the country. So he asked us to come and review what the army has been doing so that we can give a report to the international community. So they march on this credibility that one has. So I have come under 3 presidents. STEAM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, Arts and Maths. And the students that I have here are from University of Rome. But the people that make the kits, so we have a STEAM kit, which you didn't see. They are creating science. We are going to put all what they are creation into a kit also. So we have our kit that has the pipettes, the test tubes, and the rest of them for their. We'll put it together, and we'll also give them a certificate for participating. But for me, it's beyond the 5 weeks we spend in 3 camps, which is nothing. But if they continue, for me, it's more powerful. And I'm also hoping that I will have more time to come and spend with the children, more maybe with the teachers, to see how we can interact more. And we can do now hybrid online. They can put a screen, we can come up together and discuss. So any way that we can help give them an alternative to violence, for me, that makes my day.
We were interested in what keeps her motivated. Here's how she responded.
When I came to the University of Jos, we had scholarship by Bauchi State Government, and they gave us 3 meal tickets. I never used 3 meal tickets. I use 1 meal ticket or 2 at most. I sell 1 meal ticket. In my head, I don't want to be the last person to come to the university. I want to buy a form and go back to my village and say I'm in the university and I want somebody to take the form to fill. So it started a long time ago. How can we give ourselves as a sacrifice sometime for somebody else's benefits? For me, it was what kept driving me. And it's beyond education.
And here's her counsel to those who have lost hope as a result of difficult circumstances.
You develop yourself. Your core is inside of you. And over time, you don't have to flout it around. Let people see the inside. And that inside is what, especially in other communities, they clinch onto. And I know in this country we do have them. And in these children we came to the camp, they have them. And that is what I want to hope I can give by the power of my example. I don't say it, I show it. And I hope that power of don't tell, show, is what I would encourage us to consider.
Her final words for Nigerians in the diaspora are inspiring.
Many Nigerians, and I told you I have traveled, that are like me. They want to come home, they want to do what I'm doing. So for me, they are that we should encourage them to really make a deliberate effort to open up the venue for them to come in. More importantly, there are Nigerians that we really need to make them the hero they are by, boosting them up from what they are doing. There are, in this school we met the assistant headmaster whose wife is in the hospital, who has to cook for his children before he comes in the morning. And for me, these are the unsung heroes. And so every single person that is doing something to add value to this life, we should promote it.
What a story of service to humanity that sees opportunity in the face of vulnerability. It's going to take the efforts of many more Nigerians in the diaspora to make a technology-infused future a reality for the displaced young population. And that's it on the program. You can catch the show on our website, channelstv.com. I'm Ijeoma Onyato. See you next time.